Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
All right, welcome everybody to the latest edition of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, along with G. Bush and Tyvis Powell. I'm Adam the Bull, and we've got a lot to get to today, guys. We got Steve, we've got Mike and Anthony, all on the other side of the glass. No title sponsor today, so we'll get our first read in a minute. How you guys doing? What's going on?
Good, man. Good.
Were you driving a Porsche this morning? Did I? You?
Don't look at me.
I thought I saw G. Bush in a Porsche.
He's going to try to look over at me.
Listen, if I had a Porsche, I would definitely be late.
Why?
Because I got a Porsche, so I could do that.
That's true. I don't know why. I saw the car in the spot you normally park, and I could have sworn it was a Porsche.
That might be self-manifestation in the higher level. You put that out in the ether, it came back to me, manifests itself inside my soul, and then 2 weeks later, by the transitive property, 1 times A is the same as A times 1. That means I'm that guy. Yeah.
I'm rooting for you. I want you to have a Porsche. I don't know what the hell you said, but I'm rooting for you to have a Porsche.
1 times A is the same as A times 1.
That was cold, man. That was fire. It was true, too.
Yeah.
Definitely true.
By the way, I'll tell you, Tyvis, I love having you here, but I don't know how you do this with the driving the 2 hours every day. I mean, you've been doing it for a long time. But now after doing the morning show, I'm still a little bothered that your partner's a short, fat, white guy. I'm a little annoyed by that.
What is that bothering?
I thought I was the only short, fat, white guy in your lifetime. So I'm a little hurt. But
I think he might be bigger than you.
Fatter?
Yeah.
All right, good. I like that.
That's funny. That'd be like, yeah, man, you definitely weigh more than me. I feel good about myself now.
But I'll tell you, I don't know how you do all that driving every day. I would lose my mind.
Hey, you
don't mind it.
You get in the car, you put some songs on.
There you go.
Zone out. By the next thing you know, you're there.
By the way, I got to do a shout out to this restaurant that I tried this weekend. So yesterday was Aaron's birthday, and he loves chicken wings, right?
Lucky thing they're saying in your contract. No, I'm playing.
Yeah. No, they didn't ask me to do it. They didn't even know who. They didn't know who I was or anything. Yeah. But I want to give them a shout out because there's a new. I shouldn't say new. I don't know how new they are, but there's actually 4 locations. It's called Boss Chicken and Beer. Have you guys heard of this place? You heard of Anthony?
Anthony.
Yeah, they put one in my senior year dorm in the basement. It was really good.
Really? I don't think it's a chain. Is it?
Yeah, it's Boss Chicken and Beer, right? It's over in downtown Berea is the one that got put in
right,
my dorm.
I think there's 4 or 5 stores, but I don't think it's not like some national chain or something like that.
Sorry, what was that?
I don't think it's like a national chain or anything like that.
No, I don't think so, but it's good.
4 or 5 locations. So I went to the one in Bay Village, and really cool atmosphere. They're playing like, hip hop and pop music from the '90s, which is what I like. That type of music, and the food, the chicken wings are amazing. I'm not a huge chicken wing guy. My son loves chicken wings.
I love chicken wings.
They make them. They're huge. I mean, huge chicken wings, and the sauce comes on the side, which I like. Because then you could try a bunch of different sauces. Okay. And then you could use.
I actually hate that. I like my wings tossed.
You could probably. They'll do it for you if you want. I'm sure.
I like baby wings.
You like tiny little.
You like little wing dings.
Yeah.
But like they have boneless wings, and their tater tots
like
are
the
amazing.
Big, so it's the chicken is the big, and then they got a wing on it too, or is it like
no? But the wings and the drumsticks are just very meaty, very big.
Okay.
And the food was outstanding. I got it with I got the sweet barbecue sauce, but they have spicy sauces or whatever you want. And it was just a cool atmosphere, good food. So shout out to a couple of local women, I believe, that own the place. And I enjoyed my experience there. It was cool. Good stuff.
Let's make a pact right now that since we work together, if it ever comes a time where we don't work together, and I say something, you don't say I should be fired.
What do you mean?
That's what's happening with RG3 and Ryan Clark.
I would never say that you should be fired.
I was very confused where that was going.
Yeah. Those two do not like each other.
And it's like, first of all, Ryan Clark shouldn't have said what he said. He shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
But like RG3, I wouldn't say he should be. I wouldn't say fire him from his job.
Hey, you know what's so crazy? I'm gonna say this. I kind of feel. What's the one guy?
Emmanuel Acho.
No. I've been on the show. Used to be with the Odd Couple.
Oh, Rob Parker.
Oh yeah. Right?
Like I remember him, and I shout out to Rob Parker. Shout out, I've been on there. Shout out to Chris Broussard. I appreciate y'all. But he was saying RG3 was telling this story about how that kind of back in the day when they was talking and Skip Bayless and him was talking about it, and they was like he a cornball brother or whatever the case may be, and RG3 talked about how that like messed him up, like. Because,
that they call him a cornball?
Yeah, like he said, because then every single time he meets other black people, that's the first thing that's in their mind, and he's always trying to prove that
he ain't a cornball.
Like he's not a cornball, and he's good enough to be black, which is like, and he talked to open up about that. He said, man, it's tough to do that, when somebody questions your identity, especially, he's in an interracial marriage or whatever the case may be. So RG3 got a lot of, like, at that point, got a lot of hate thrown at him, and he said it was difficult. So now it's kind of like, now him and Ryan Clark is going at it, and Ryan is big in the community. So
no, but Ryan Clark is wrong because he said that conversation isn't happening inside his household.
That's what
and
I'm
saying.
Like,
that's a lie. His kids is mixed, so that 1,000% need to know that.
And so I can see why RG3 is very upset and uptight about that, because he's like, nah, this is twice somebody trying to question the validity of my identity as a black man in America, and he's like, nah. So I get why he say I don't ever want to do, like, that's like me saying I don't agree with Tyvus or something. Be like, Tyvus talks way too proper. He's not black like us.
Yeah, that's
like
right.
Come on, bro.
I got a bunch of fans. So now that I started this new show in Columbus, my wife like looks at all the clips and stuff, and the people be under there saying things about me, and they always say like, it's the way I talk. And I told my wife.
What do you mean?
I can't understand him.
Oh.
And I said, I
told
my wife, that's racist. Those people are racist.
Yeah.
Because I'm on this show, I'm on the radio, I'm on the Big Ten Network, I'm on the Browns. Everybody understands exactly what I'm saying.
There's always going to be a segment.
So I say that's a racist comment.
Of course it is. Yeah. And tell your wife to stay away from that. There's people.
I told she ain't gonna listen to me.
Yeah, I get it.
She said that she said if they were attacking her, she wouldn't care. But because they attacking me and know that I'm not gonna say nothing, she wants to say something. I'm like,
you can't win with those people.
Let it die. Like,
those people are losers, and you can't win with people.
Besides,
like that.
You know what I learned from watching politicians? I learned one valuable thing. If somebody is opposing to you, just talk to your base. I'm talking to the people I'm talking to. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you ain't gonna like me regardless. I don't even know you here, really. And I'm in a building. I remember I had a conversation with, when I was at the radio station with our old program manager. Somebody said, he uses slang on the radio, and I said, bro, I'm more educated than you. How many degrees you got? I got 2 or 3 of them. How many you got? I know exactly what I'm saying. And if you know, you know. If you outside of the conversation, you just outside in the cold. They came around eventually. Come around.
The whole thing with Ryan, we were talking about this briefly before we went on and before we get some other things. The whole thing with Ryan Clark and RG3, of course, started because of what happened between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And I got to say, I'm so sick of fans on both sides. Not every fan of both of those players, but there's a percentage of the fan base on both sides that have their agendas for this situation. And that gets thrown into every interaction between the two. They clearly don't love each other. That's fine. That's part of a rivalry.
Yes.
We love when players don't like each other. It's okay if they don't like each other.
Well, Angel Reese is on the record saying that she don't hate her.
Maybe she doesn't. I don't know. They want to kick each other's ass on the court. That's okay.
Both of them are competitive people.
Yeah, I don't even care if they like each other or not. It doesn't matter. And even if they don't like each other, which maybe they don't, maybe they do like each other. I don't know. But it probably has zero to do with race why they wouldn't like each other. But everybody else from the outside has got their agendas that they throw into the situation that have nothing to do with reality. And every time one of them gets fouled, or mostly when Kristen Clark gets fouled, but in this case it was Angel Reese. Like everybody's got their people are so biased in the situation, it drives me crazy. Well, it's just like politics, where if it's your person that gets it's your person is always right. Well, even when we know rationally they're not always right.
The good thing about this is I have nobody in the fight. I just to me, I think people are looking at it like, because last year those two got into it to where they were. I think Caitlin Clark went up for a layup, and Angel Reese tried to glass it and block it and like hit her in the head and knocked her down. Everybody made a thing of that. So like 1 year later, this happens, and it was just a little take foul. To be honest with you, I think Angel Reese kind of sold it a little bit. Like it was, she definitely.
Was it a hard foul? Yes. Did she flop? Yes.
You know why
did she maybe overreact?
Yes.
It's great.
But I have no issue. But who cares?
We started our show off with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark in WNBA. This is great for the sport. Keep acting like it. Y'all need a commercial. Y'all need to be duking it up. Y'all need to be having.
Paige Beckers was doing her thing last night. She had a big game
because I sure watched that game. She was hooping last night.
People are watching. There's more people watching. Keep your agendas to yourself, and there you go. But go ahead.
Yeah, we did overtime on that topic yesterday. We started today's show. First time in the history of UCSS. Crazy. We've done back-to-back WNBA topics. But let's dive into our first real topic of today's show after a quick word from FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing. Every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments, whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player. There's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. If you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com/UCSS and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Guys, the Browns officially kick off the start of their 2025 season a week from today with OTAs. It's the first time we'll see the veterans and the rookies together on the field, and all eyes will be on the quarterback battle. Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com wrote a column yesterday, more of a column than an official report, projecting how she believes the Browns will handle the snaps and the quarterback competition early on in camp. This is from Mary Kay Cabot's column last night, and I quote, "In terms of their batting order in team drills, it will likely be Pickett and Gabriel, number 1 and number 2, and then Flacco and Sanders splitting the number 3 and number 4 reps at the outset, largely based on how and when they were acquired, i.e. the Browns set out to draft Gabriel in the 3rd round and passed on Sanders 6 times before trading up to get him in the 5th round. G, what do you make of Mary Kay's initial observation and best guess on how the Browns will split up camp, practices, and snaps?"
Well, listen, this is I'm so glad you tossed this my way.
I got you, G. You know I got you, bro. You know I got you.
I'm so glad you tossed that to me. And now listen, let me ask y'all a question. We're going to do this exercise together. We're going to do this. I like team group. What I like to do is break it down very slowly, line by line. Now, she says, accurately so, that they passed on Shedeur Sanders 5 times. She mentions that a lot. Do we all believe that they passed on Shedeur Sanders for personality things or physical ability?
I don't know. I think he went in the 5th round. He dropped from the 1st round because of talent. He dropped to the 5th round because of off the field.
There you go. I like that. I would say it's off the field. So we established that thing. I don't think he doesn't have a 5th round skill set.
No,
okay.
I agree. I agree.
Yes. Okay, so then we've established that.
Yeah.
So when they acquired Kenny Pickett, what did they trade for Kenny Pickett?
A 5th round pick, I believe.
Okay, 5th round pick?
That is correct.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Everybody's sitting around telling me Shedeur Sanders, why you all excited about Shedeur Sanders? It's a 5th round pick. 5th round pick, G. Bush, 5th round pick. The value is 5th round. Gabriel went higher than him. Let me ask you a question. If they only traded a 5th round pick for Kenny Pickett, doesn't that mean his value is
a 5th round pick?
Thank you very much. Let's continue on through this process.
Yeah.
Now, You talk about money. Oh, the guaranteed money. They offered Flacco all this bread. They gave him money. They obviously, Kenny Pickett is getting money. McNuggets, I don't know. Can you look up how much Kenny Pickett is actually making?
Kenny Pickett this year, I will confirm in a second, but I believe it's $2 million.
Okay, I believe that. Now I know this is over a longer period of time, but I just think Shedeur just signed for $4.6 million, which is more money.
It's a 4-year deal.
It's a 4-year deal. Yeah. Spread it out.
Kenny Pickett this year will make $2.623 million.
Okay, let me ask you this question as we continue on the money line. Kenny Pickett, he had a 5th-year option, right?
Declined it.
Who declined that?
The Cleveland Browns.
Oh, I thought if they thought so much of him, they would have just gave him that bag of money, right?
Well, he got to show it.
Again, 5th-round value, declined your 20-something million because they didn't think you were worth that, and gave you a prove-it deal so that you could get your career back on track. My question is...
that was money he was already owed.
He was already owed. He was already owed.
Yes.
So... for people that's saying that, oh, listen, his value is so much higher than the rest of them. He should be how is he a shoe-in when I could squint my eyes and say, why him? Put Dillon Gabriel in the first reps when you're talking about value. If you want to talk about what you've done and what you're worth, my thing is, and I just say it like this, I don't know why all of a sudden people act like Kenny Pickett doesn't have to earn his spot just as much as the rest of them. Like this thing, I'm going to push him to the top. And listen, when you talk about it, I heard Bull one time say with Jason, because he's a veteran, Tyvis, the veteran talking point is takes care of the football, knows the game plan, doesn't put the ball in harm's way. Bull's like, whoa, hold on. I think his record is what? 10 and something? Like,
he's 15 and 14.
And how many picks to interceptions he done throw?
No, that's his interception touchdown. 15 touchdowns, 14 picks.
Yeah. So is he really? Is he different than Flacco? Is he different than Jameis Winston?
To be fair,
okay.
Pittsburgh offense is atrocious.
To be fair, would you say Pittsburgh's offense is better than Cleveland's?
No, because the play caller in Cleveland is better than the play caller that's ever been in Pittsburgh for the past.
But Pittsburgh has had better talent.
He's better talent.
I give you that. But the play call is also something.
Yeah, that's a fact, for sure.
So I'm just giving you guys, I'm going to just put it out there so we can all be even and honest about the situation. Because, they did pass on Shedeur a few times, but they've also put some feelers in the air and said, Kenny Pickett, we're going to bring you in. But you ain't that guy. Let's be clear.
Yeah. Davis?
So eloquently put.
I mean...
we was ready today, McNuggets.
The way I look,
I got you, G. Stand up, bro.
We was ready today. I said, hold on. I was in the lab with a pen and a pad.
The way I look at it is this: when they break for OTAs, Kenny Pickett should be quarterback 1. Why do I say that? Because Kenny Pickett has been here the longest, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. He was the only quarterback that was on the roster. They recently went and got Joe Flacco right before the draft, and then they drafted the other 2 rookies. So from the time of him being here, he's been around the staff the longest. I know Joe Flacco played a year ago. I get all that, but you know what I'm saying. So Kenny Pickett should probably get the first reps just to start it off because that's just what it is. This pecking order will get changed after week 1 of OTAs. If he's not doing his thing and he's not looking good, the people will move up and down. To me, if I'm doing OTAs this year, I'm working each quarterback in with the ones so I can get a good look at what they will look like with the ones. Which quarterback has got other guys playing above and beyond themselves. What guy commands the huddle. What guy can get the plays in and out and not have delay of games. What guy can see the defense better and read it and get the adjustments and things like that. You need to work there with all the quarterbacks. Maybe not Joe, because Joe to me is in a case of emergency. I know he knows all those things. But the other 3 have never worked with Kevin Stefanski before. So you need to rotate all 3 of them because it's a long season. You never know what's going to happen. It's the Cleveland Browns. It's for the past 4 years, every quarterback on the roster has played. So you need to make sure all of them is ready anyways and have reps with the ones. So if it was me, I'd start it off with Kenny Pickett. After week 1, we doing some rotating.
I'm with you, Tyvis, in general. I don't necessarily care if Kenny Pickett's number 1 or whatever, but your point about within a week it's going to all change, or it might change.
Everybody, unless your name is Myles Garrett, everybody, and Denzel Ward, everybody else is
exactly. I feel like we've never seen this before. I don't think we've ever seen a situation that I can recall where you go into an offseason where you have 4 quarterbacks that you can argue will have a chance to win a start if it's truly a fair competition, and we'll take them at their word that it is. I don't know that it is, but we'll take them at their word.
They might as well make it.
They might as well, right?
I don't see why you wouldn't.
There's a case to be made for all 4. None of them should be handed anything.
I agree.
This is, and here's the thing. If I'm Kevin Stefanski, okay, I get, we get it. The reality is the Browns will probably not win a lot of games. That's the most likely scenario.
8-9.
Most likely scenario. That's probably the best case scenario. Most likely the Browns are going to lose a lot of games this year. But if you're Kevin Stefanski and you're coaching Myles Garrett and you're coaching Joel Bitonio and you're coaching Denzel Ward and the other veterans on this team, you can't go into meetings and say, guys, we're going to suck this year. And our goal is to see if these rookie quarterbacks are good enough that we don't have to draft a quarterback in the first round. Joe Bitonio didn't come back for that crap. And I get it. I get what some fans are going to say and some media members are going to say, well, that doesn't matter. It's all about being able to win a Super Bowl. This team can't win a Super Bowl as is. I think everybody would agree on that. Fine. But if I'm Kevin Stefanski, I want to win. I want to win. So ultimately, when the season begins, I owe it to the rest of the players to start the quarterback that gives me the best chance to win. Now, in my opinion, right now, without seeing anything, I would say that's probably Joe Flacco is most likely to be the guy that gives me the best chance to win. But I don't know. He's 41 years old. Outside of Tom Brady, pretty much every quarterback goes over the cliff at that point. Maybe that happens to him. I don't know. If Kenny Pickett gives him the best chance to win, start Kenny Pickett. Shedeur Sanders, start him. Dillon Gabriel, start him. Everybody's got to be given an equal opportunity. That's what makes sense. Now, if the Browns start Kenny Pickett or start Joe Flacco, and they're 1-5, they're 2-6, okay, now the priority becomes we got to play these young guys. Okay, which of the 2 young guys is more prepared to start a game? And that's how we go from there. But in the beginning of the season, I got to go with the guy that gives me the best chance to win. And if you want to do what's best for the whole team, there has to be an equal opportunity for all 4 guys. I hope there will be. I think there should be. We'll see if there is.
Yeah, I'm rotating every day.
Yeah.
One day, one guy you're gonna get the reps bell to bell. Hey, right. Dillon Gabriel, you got all the first-team reps. Let's see, buddy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what when you have if you're literally having an open competition, and it's true that we don't have a favorite.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do.
Yes.
Because it's not. How am I going to say if Shedeur Sanders is killing it with the threes? How am I going to go in the season and say, oh yeah, he's going to be good with the ones? That's not the case.
Yeah.
It's a lose-lose situation.
That's what I'm saying. So you got to rotate them all to see what they are. Maybe he works better with the ones.
Now, I want to see Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel in particular play with the 1s, the 2s, the 3s, the 4s. Like, how are they with the starters? Okay, they're good. But if a guy gets hurt, is he going to still be able to play well with the backup guys, with the third-string guys? Because just like a quarterback, guys get hurt too at wide receiver. I mean, you might have to, can you elevate the guys around you? That's part of being a quarterback.
So let me give you this.
Yeah.
So and we'll say this. I think McNuggets got some more clips. Yeah. What did Sam Darnold get this year? How much was it? That
I don't remember.
30 or 40 million. I'll tell you one.
I don't think it was 40.
Was it like 120? Wasn't it
that much?
Was it?
Sam Darnold signed
he got whatever Geno was supposed to give.
3 year.
Yeah, 3 year, 110 million.
That's great.
So 33 and a half.
All right.
So let me tell you this.
Yeah.
The worst case scenario is Kenny Pickett starting all the games and being good. Worst case scenario.
Why?
You can't sign him, and you can't. Deshaun Watson is on the roster, and you got Kenny Pickett. And if his value for a quarterback that's trying to resurrect his career under the age of 30 is a Geno Smith or a Sam Darnold, you're looking at even if it's $80 million over a little small period of time.
Yeah.
You do not have the flexibility to sign 2 of those guys on the roster.
I think next year maybe they could, in theory. I mean,
aren't they getting cap relief?
What do we think the odds are of Kenny Pickett playing as well as Sam Darnold did last year?
Slim to none.
Yeah.
So, like, to me, out of all of the people, and I'm not just saying this. Now, granted, I'm preface this by saying if he comes out and kills it, obviously he's going to play.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate trump card. But if I'm looking at it from a standpoint of the future, the present, or trying to even make evaluations, the person who makes the least sense to be getting all the reps and starting all these games is Kenny Pickett. If you thought he was going to be that good, wouldn't you have said, you know what? We're going to keep that fifth-year option, and we're going to keep you on the roster and develop you for 2 years.
If you were that confident, you could argue that because it was, what, $20 million?
Yep.
$20 million.
Which is a lot, but if somehow he has a Sam Darnold season, that wouldn't have been a lot.
It's a brilliant move.
Gift, but yeah.
I got another
ahead,
question for you guys real quick. This is a little later in Mary Kay's column. She wrote this in terms of how Kevin Stefanski, in her mind, will split up the quarterback situation. Mary Kay said, quote, "It remains to be seen how they'll split the concurrent passing drills, but placing a rookie with a vet seems to make the most sense. As far as Flacco and Sanders sharing the third and fourth team reps, Sanders might go first at times, in part because Flacco has 17 years experience under his belt, while Sanders needs as much time on task as possible to get up to speed with the scheme and get his chemistry and timing down with receivers." Tyvis, Bull, I'm curious if maybe I'm looking way too deep into this, looking too far, making something out of nothing. But I do think it's interesting, the pairing, if you assume it's Flacco, Sanders, Gabriel, Pickett, to give Sanders more of a chance, as Mary Kay alluded to show what he can do, considering the fact that Flacco's been around for 17 years and probably needs the least amount of OTA reps.
But now we're speculating on her speculation.
Once again, I totally understand. I just wanted to ask about it.
My thing about it is this. Maybe they look at it like this. Because this was a thing that we talked about in the pre-draft process. Maybe putting him and Flacco third and four because didn't Pat Shurmur run what Kevin runs, but like a college version of it? So technically, he knows, Shedeur should know all of Kevin's stuff, technically. But the only two that don't, that's fresh, is Pickett and Dillon Gabriel.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why they doing it that way, because it's like.
But again, we don't know that they're doing it that way. It's
true.
speculating.
We're speculating to the speculation.
Yeah.
That's what I would think. Like maybe they looking at it like, you know what, these two know the offense more than these two do, so we need to get them more reps to see what it is. But at the end of the day, you still got to see all of them. Well, maybe not Joe, because Joe's already done it, but the other three, you have to see them with the ones at some point.
Right.
Look, I think the Browns, they're running that good old smoke screen right now. Remember they was doing this a couple of years ago with Dobbs and DTR and a lot of them.
Kellen
Mond. They was spot shadowing people, making you think, oh, this the dude right here. And they're like, sorry, we're trading you to so and so.
They just did that last year.
Yeah, just did that
2 years in a row.
Jameis, DTR.
I believe
and Snoop.
Yep. I believe Kenny Pickett is in that situation. I believe you got a fifth, you might get a fourth if you look pretty good, right? If you look at Joe Flacco to me is, all right, if these dudes are horrible, like say Dillon Gabriel goes and he's not very good, then you get Shedeur Sanders in there, he goes, he looks decent, but he gets hurt. Now you already got Flacco. You already ready to go and you cool. You ain't got no problem. But for me, I think that you're trying to recoup some of that. And I would look at it like this. If I was Pickett, I would say I want to compete I would make Pickett and Flacco compete. Like, I want to see which one is the best veteran, the best guy. Like, I don't want him competing with no rookie. Nah. We're going, because like you said, chances are they're going to start with a veteran anyway starting.
Yeah, most likely.
So let me get the veteran that give me the best chance, and then I'm going to have these rookies battle it out for the backup quarterback position to see what's the first bite at the apple. I don't know. This staggered with I want professional pressure. You know how it is, Tyvis. When you got two veterans going at it, both of them be locked in. Y'all be talking about your family walking in. As soon as y'all get to that facility, y'all say nothing to each other. That pressure be deep. Yeah. You'd be like, dang, he got 4 more reps than me today.
I'll tell you guys,
that's a fact.
There's an angle of this we haven't talked about, and I don't know how big this is on the team. Maybe you have a feel for it, Tyvis. But I think from an outsider's perspective, and I think with the players, and definitely with the fans, this is a big deal. Now, ultimately, if there is a veteran competition and then a rookie competition, let the best man win. And if Kenny Pickett beats out Joe Flacco, so be it. However, think about it from this angle. If the Browns start the season with Kenny Pickett as the starting quarterback,
he throw a pick.
First interception he throws, fans want Shedeur or Dillon Gabriel in. there is going to be way more.
The first interception.
Okay.
He plays, if he come out if that game is like
first game,
if that game is
they
like
want him out.
Against Dallas last year,
I like that.
He's out.
Can I amend that, Bull?
I like that.
Before Kenny Pickett throws an interception.
Before
Kenny Pickett arrives at Huntington Bank Field for Game 1. Before the week before Week 1, fans will be calling for Shedeur.
That is fine, but they'll be if they look like crap and he plays like crap after one game. Fans are going to 100% want him out.
Yes,
that will not be the case with Flacco. Yes, if Flacco's terrible the first game, there'll be a segment of the fan base is like maybe we should turn the page, but it won't be the same vitriol. And number two, more importantly, think about the players.
That's what
any player that was here with Joe Flacco in 23. Believes in him. 100%. And if he has a bad game week 1,
who cares?
They're going to be like, it's all right. We'll be fine. None of those guys believe it. And maybe some of them believe in Kenny Pickett. I don't know. And maybe he'll make them a believer. Anything's possible. But right now, you got a lot of Joe Flacco believers in that locker room, or at least a decent amount. I don't know how many. I can't imagine there's any Kenny Pickett believers in that locker room, and I think that matters. The fans is one thing. The team really shouldn't care about what the fans think, but they do, and we know the Browns do. But the players matter.
Absolutely.
Do you think that's a factor in this?
1,000%. That goes back to what I was saying. This is the thing. I done did many camps before, and I'm telling you right now, you can look at a quarterback, whether you put him with the 1s, 2s, or 3s.
Yeah.
If they got that glow to them, and it's just something about them, you could tell because they just got that offense clicking. Whether they going to 3s on 3s, they just rolling down the field. You put them with the 2s, they just rolling down. If one of these quarterbacks is doing that, you can't deny it because every player sees it.
Do you remember when Flacco took over in 23 and we heard he was killing it in practice? And we're like, it's practice, who cares? And then he came in and went on that run.
Yeah. That is why they fought so much for Deshaun. Because in practice, Deshaun was like that. I told you, I watched the practice. I seen it. Deshaun was good in practice. So that's why the players was like, no, he good. Y'all got to wait. He'll be good. But I'm telling you, it's something about that. If you go to practice and you balling and it's just not a one and done thing, you doing it consistently. Players man, why? Come on, man. Put him in the game. Put him in the game.
I'm going to tell you about these fans, man. There's one thing I know is these fans. Listen, he already has money in the bank.
Yeah, right.
He already has goodwill. That he has currency. They've seen him in prime time and in the playoff game, even though he threw 10 picks and they got boat raced.
Who?
Flacco. They saw it. They saw the way the offense looked. They saw Flaccavelli throw all them 300-yard games in a row.
Was nothing.
It was nothing. So the fans is already, to me, when people kept saying just Pickett is better, I said Pickett has the toughest job. Dillon Gabriel got drafted higher, and there's a certain segment of the population that actually just feels bad for him because they put him in a bad situation. Dang, can you think? Mom, I got drafted in the 3rd round higher than I even thought, and then 2 rounds later, you get Shedeur looking at you like this, dog. Bro, that's tough. Now you got Shedeur. Shedeur, look, man, listen, come on, man. The fans love me, bro. I got an underdog story ready to go now. Flacco, this been there, done that. I know Joe Batonio. Matter of fact, my wife and his wife had some dinner 3 weeks ago. I know the whole line, all of them. And here comes Kenny Pickett coming in here with these gloves on from Pittsburgh.
Tiny hands.
From Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And looking around yeah, man, but they drafted. Hey, they got me first. Cass is that don't count.
I gotta see it.
You gotta see it.
I gotta go to OTAs, man, and I gotta see it.
I gotta see it a lot.
It'll just jump off the page.
Are you guys excited? Are you excited
about the
Browns? I'm excited for football.
Football. Are you excited to see? This is the first time we got a chance to see new people in a lot of years.
Some new guys. Yeah. And last thing, Mike, before we move on to Deshaun Watson.
They keep him 5.
Obviously, the number one priority for fans is to win. Fans want to win. They want to watch wins. They want to win a Super Bowl. But after that, especially for Browns fans that have suffered through so much crap football since Bernie Kosar for 30 years, right? Especially on the offensive side, there have been in the last 30 years so few seasons where the Browns have had an offense that looked like a real NFL offense. And so when Derek Anderson has that great year, fans get excited because they look like a real NFL offense. For a moment with Brian Hoyer, they look like a real NFL offense. Certainly there were times with Baker where they looked like a real NFL offense. Since Baker, the only time they've looked like a real NFL offense was with Joe Flacco. And if fans can't get wins, they at least want the offense to be fun.
That's it.
And look like, man, we can sling the ball around and score some points.
Jacoby Brissett was fine. He beat Tom Brady.
No, it wasn't fun, though. Flacco was fun.
I watched it. Him beating Tom Brady right here at home, that wasn't fun?
Nah.
David Njoku back in the end zone.
It was boring.
It wasn't
one hand.
It wasn't Flaccavelli with all the lights on. At the end against the Jets with the lighters up.
That's right.
There wasn't that. What are you talking about?
Put your light
up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Flacco didn't come back last year because of some reported beef. I don't know. That's not the right word.
I don't think the team felt like it would put too much pressure on Watson.
Exactly. We're going to go from a group of four to the one guy looking in a second.
Yeah.
But first, say goodbye to sticky notes, scribbled plans on the fridge, and overlapping calendar invites. The Skylight calendar is here to bring clarity to the chaos and help families stay organized without the stress. This sleek digital display syncs with your existing calendars, Google, Apple, Outlook, and more, making it simple to track appointments, practices, dinners, and reminders all in one easy-to-see place. Right now, Skylight is offering our listeners $30 off their 15-inch calendar by going to skylightcal.com/NFL. Go to skylightcal.com/NFL for $30 off your 15-inch calendar. That is Skylight Cal, SKYLIGHTCAL.com/NFL. So from the four quarterbacks we just mentioned to the one that we didn't mention who is still very much in play for the Browns, and that is Deshaun Watson, guys. Mary Kay wrote another article yesterday giving us an update on Deshaun Watson's rehab progress from his torn Achilles that ended his 2024 season. This is from the article Mary Kay wrote, and I quote, Deshaun Watson Mary Kay. You said who?
Ooh.
Oh, sorry. This from Mary Kay. Deshaun Watson continues to make excellent progress in his comeback bid at cross-country Mortgage Campus. Watson, not part of the Derby among Kenny Pickett, Dillon Gabriel, Joe Flacco, and Shedeur Sanders, has been throwing to Jerry Jeudy and David Bell indoors at the Browns facility, a league source told Cleveland.com. He's been out of his walking boot for several weeks, as he posted on his Instagram account, and has also posted photos of himself Monday throwing to receivers. We have some of those pictures for you guys to see. Steve, you want to take tag board full. But these are a couple of pictures from the 20-picture slideshow Deshaun posted on Instagram of his working rehab. Picture of him throwing. Picture of him getting some rehab work in. Notice no boot on either foot. And here are two pictures of Deshaun throwing to receivers in the Browns facility. Whether or not he's healthy enough to come back and play still remains to be seen. It's one thing to throw, no pass rush, stand still, all that. But the bigger question is, if Deshaun is healthy enough not to be placed on the PUP list or in the injured reserve list, the Browns' 4-quarterback situation becomes a 5-quarterback situation, with Deshaun Watson being a guy they simply cannot cut due to the dead cap money.
Yeah. The Browns
can they afford?
No.
Is it almost a bad thing if Deshaun is ahead of progress on his rehab from the Browns' standpoint?
He's got to be on the injured list this year. There's really no other choice.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do? They're not giving him a roster spot. He's going to be on the injured list. By the way, when the boot comes off, I understand I'm a out-of-shape fat guy, and Deshaun Watson, despite his flaws on the field in recent years, is a very much in-shape younger man. But there's still a ton of rehab when you get the boot off.
Man.
I guarantee you, and again, he gets 24/7 workouts, not like me, but when you come out of that boot, your leg basically shrinks.
Yeah, you ain't got no muscle. It's
nothing.
And I just partially tore mine.
Yeah.
It's like
it's unbelievable.
It's mush. You have no explosiveness. That looks cute. We found out that just because you post pictures with Nick Chubb does not mean you are ready to go. Please don't. Let's learn the same lesson, people. Yeah. Jason Tatum is not playing next year.
Nope.
Damian Lillard is not playing next year.
Nope.
Like, let's be clear about these things. And by the way, I hate to be this guy. It don't matter if he was healthy. People are throwing it in there like that. Like if he was completely healthy or something, that he would be somehow in contention for what they're doing.
Yeah.
They've already said, the owner himself, like, at least if you looking at the Browns, there's always a little inkling in your back of your head that says, I don't know what Jimmy Haslam might do.
Right.
But Jimmy Haslam had already said, oh, yeah, this is a wrap. Listen, we got it. And they're like, think about the uphill battle. If you mentioned Deshaun Watson before, there was a segment of the population that was for Deshaun Watson. They've all migrated to 12.
Yeah, that's right.
You didn't have Joe Flacco when he was playing. Joe Flacco is here.
Yeah.
You have 12, Flacco, and Dillon Gabriel.
We just spent 10 minutes talking about how nobody wants Kenny Pickett to play. 80% of the fan base would rather Kenny Pickett than Deshaun Watson. Maybe 90%.
People would go Tyvis, am I wrong in this?
Hashtag ride with 4.
I mean,
back, baby. It's back. He ain't playing this year.
I just put a poll up.
Yeah.
Who would you rather see play quarterback for the Browns this year, Pickett or Watson? Make your pick. We'll go back to this in 20 minutes. But
I'll say Pickett 80%.
85.
All right.
Yeah, but probably right.
But, and here's the thing. Not only did, Jimmy Haslam say, see ya, what did he say, disaster or whatever he said. I can't remember.
He called it a swing and miss.
They added 4 quarterbacks this offseason. 4! 4. And not just like, we'll bring in some 30-year-old veteran who's never started before as a camp body.
They got names.
4 quarterbacks that are either rookies or have started in this league. 4.
There's no way.
There is 0 chance, and they, as you said, they can't cut him because of the cap ramifications. So he's going to spend a year in the injured list, and he, I guess in theory he and his camp can make a stink out of it, but I bet they won't.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Listen, they got him
paid.
They got
he's getting paid, right? And if he has any chance of coming back with another team and getting another opportunity, he's got to stay quiet.
Listen, he told them, he gave them power of attorney to switch his contract at will. Don't even call me. I'm going to be at home hanging out, doing my thing. Congratulations on you getting married. I appreciate, I shout out to you, man. But
he got married.
Well, he's engaged. I see it. I was watching. I see it on Instagram.
Okay.
But
congratulations.
They're not. This is the way it is. They're going to restructure that, and like you said, for him to even get back in it, he got to be a model citizen. He got to help them make sure that it ain't a problem, and then they might in turn help him.
Yeah.
Say, hey, he was a good sport while he was here.
That's right.
I think you should.
He's already got almost no chance of getting an opportunity. If he went and they forced me to be on IL and I didn't want that, for a lot of teams to be like, you know what, it's enough. I'm not taking a chance
at all.
Yeah, so forget it. He can't say anything. He's going to miss the whole season. He's going to stay on IR. They're going to cut him at the end of next year, at the end of the 25 season, and he's going to hope to get a training camp invite for some team and battle his way to a job somewhere else.
Yeah, I think the best case scenario for him is to really focus on his injuries.
That's right.
Making sure he's healthy for next season.
Right.
OTAs come around. Hopefully he'll be able to throw a little bit.
Shoulder.
I'm sure. I don't think they're cutting him. I think he'll be on the roster for next season as well, correct?
No, I think they could cut him after 25.
So after
it'd still be a cap hit, but it wouldn't be as egregious, Mike, right?
I thought you were right, Bull.
Am I wrong?
I think it's 26.
If I'm reading over the Cap's salary projections correctly, and a hand up, I admit maybe I'm not because this seems too high. If they cut him now, it'd be $170 million dead cap.
Yeah.
If they cut him after this season, it's $130 million dead cap.
What if after June 1st, post June 1st next season? Do you know?
Post June 1st is 81.
Okay, that's
which
it's a lot, but you could.
That's the number I was thinking of.
That's doable. 81.
What is it after the season?
Yeah, but you can cut him after the season and designate it as a June 1st cut.
This is why this is so important.
Yeah,
$81 million.
Yeah, still a lot, but not.
What is? I just need
the
to know what it
cap's
is.
like $300 million now.
What's the next one? What's after that? What's after 80? What's the next one after that season? After next.
Then it's probably nothing. Not nothing, but it's significantly lower. But I think they take that cap hit, but that's you got
you a backup quarterback.
That is why it is very enticing to have 2 rookie quarterbacks, one that's a starter and one that's a backup. They're free, $4-point-something million. They could kick Deshaun Watson's can down the road for 4 more years if they wanted. They have no money allocated in the room. That's why.
Yeah.
if you're looking at it, somebody was in that front office and said, ding, 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 ding. He might have had a bad draft evaluation process. But this man is in the 5th round. Do you know if we can get him to be a serviceable starter, we're going to be paying him peanuts for 3 years. And if you hit on him, nobody will remember Deshaun Watson's name.
Yeah, right. Well, that's true. That's true.
Let me ask you a question. Let's say Shedeur becomes the starting quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
And number 2 becomes available. Do you think he would leave 12 to go to 2?
Nah.
He's already said multiple times he wants to be called 12.
Yeah.
2. He said 2's dead. It's disrespectful if you call me 2 now.
Yeah.
He said on his Twitch.
I like how see what he did. This is
I can't call him 12. That's Cardell.
This is what we call reinventing yourself.
That's right.
When you're in marketing, you got to always reinvent yourself. 12, listen, you know what? 2 is nice.
I hear what you say.
But I'm 10 times better than I used to be. 10 times more mature. So at the 2 with the 10, that makes 12. Let's go.
I never realized it till just this very moment that he got his father's number flipped.
Andrew Siciliano told him about that.
I never paid attention to that.
He said, "Oh, you see that? You see that?"
But this is the thing. That 2 get open.
Yeah.
Now, 2
by the way, that's what I'm saying.
That's a cold number.
2 in football is like that's you are that guy.
When Andrew Siciliano was doing all those videos while walking on the beach, have you seen those?
Yeah.
That he's doing? Is he using a selfie stick?
It is kind of high,
yeah,
right?
That is kind of high in the sky, bro. I didn't know they still sell selfie sticks like that.
Have you seen the episode? Did you guys watch Curb Your Enthusiasm by any chance?
No. I slightly used to,
I don't know
but
how
I
you
forgot.
guys didn't watch that show. There's a scene in Curb Your Enthusiasm where Larry and Leon, if you know, you know, are walking and they're talking. You know, so Leon is played by J.B. Smoove. You know who he is?
Yes.
Okay. Their chemistry is maybe the greatest comedy chemistry in modern history of television. They are having this conversation. This has nothing to do with the selfie stick, but they're walking down the street having a conversation, and Larry David says to J.B. Smoove, he goes, "Do you like your color?" And he goes, "I love my color." He goes, and they talk about their color, and then J.B. Smoove's like, "Do you like your color?" He goes, "Nah, white people, we all look like a bunch of white people. All look like different flavors of hot cereal." He goes, "You look like Yoo-hoo." He's like, "Yeah, you're damn right, I look like you." But anyway, in the middle of this crazy conversation, which is hilarious, Larry David, there's these 2 teenagers taking photos. Larry David grabs the selfie stick from 2 people that he's walking by the street, breaks it, and hands it back.
And just keeps it pushing.
Dude, you gotta go back and watch this.
It's a good show.
I mean,
I haven't seen it
the
all,
show
but
was great in the beginning, but then when J.B. Smoove joined the show, it's another level. The whole show is basically ad-libbed, by the way.
Isn't this
the whole show is
ad-libbed?
seasons
of that show is?
It's a lot.
Like
there are
12
a lot
or 13.
Oh man,
it's so funny though,
it is
man.
Good. Real quick before we move on to the guards, the poll result: would you rather see Deshaun or Pickett play quarterback this year?
Kenny Pickett 90%.
70-30 for Pickett.
Okay,
which
a little less than we thought, but
less. But if you remember where any of this show started, which was right at the hype of the Deshaun Watson trade, would just happened.
Right.
Anything Deshaun was 99 Deshaun, 1% everything else. Maybe not that high, but to see now that Kenny Pickett has a significantly higher approval rating is kind of crazy to see how far we've come.
Yeah.
We got former Browns linebacker Joe Schobert joining us in about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So I want to get some Guardians in before Joe joins us. I'm really excited to talk to Joe. He's got basketball, by the way. He's playing after he comes on. He was like, "How long do you think this is going to be?" I got hoops, and I was like, "Joe, you're not my favorite football player. You're going to talk with us and go hoop in the afternoon at his local YMCA." So shout out to Joe. But we're going to talk some guards, and this guards topic is brought to us by Buckeye State Credit Union. Today's episode is brought to you by Buckeye State Credit Union. If you're unfamiliar with them, let me introduce you to the financial friend you didn't know you needed until right now. Buckeye State Credit Union is a local brand offering a wide range of products, from checking accounts to home equity lines of credit and auto loans. They have some of the lowest rates around and are committed to serving in Northeast Ohio. The Cleveland location is in Shaker Heights, but they have 5 brick and mortar stores across the state. Buckeye State Credit Union is here to help make your life easier. They make banking more convenient, always putting the customer first, so you leave feeling cared for, valued, and respected. Connect, simplify, and adapt. Those are the core values that make Buckeye State Credit Union the right choice for you. For more information, head to buckeyecu.org. Buckeye State Credit Union, your money simplified. So the Guardians got rained out yesterday, guys. And I wanted to touch on some of the things
well,
that
technically the game got suspended.
Yeah. Actually, about that, did you hear Tom Hamilton's call about the rain?
I did not.
Well, we're going to play it then. Steve, you want to pull up the side here? I just thought it was funny, but Tom Hamilton was very frustrated that the game continued in the third inning after being rain delayed in the second and eventually suspended. But here's Tom Hamilton from last night.
It is pouring right now. What are we doing? Why are we playing in this rain? Why? This is not the Preakness. Here's Ty France, RBI single his first time. Bangs one to third, clubbed by Ramirez, sets, throws, and just like that, a quick inning. Why? Everybody wants to go back into the dugout and try to stay dry. We have played 3 in a pouring rain, 2-1 Minnesota.
I thought that was funny, so I wanted to throw it in there. Tom is the absolute best.
Oh, my God, that's great.
But, Bull, I wanted to ask you this. You weren't on the show yesterday, and we had a lengthy discussion about the Guardians-Red series.
Yeah, that was
Jay,
some crazy stuff
myself,
right there.
Gia, I wanted to give you a chance to address some of that. But I wanted to start with this real quick.
Yeah.
Jay said yesterday that over the next 10 games, where the Guardians play the Twins, the Tigers, and the Dodgers, we're going to learn a lot about this team, what they're made of, and we may have to change the framing of how we see the rest of their season if this next 10-game stretch doesn't go particularly well for Cleveland. Now, I am not a baseball expert. I didn't know enough to necessarily push back and tell him why that's crazy, even though I thought at the time it's the end of May. We're less than a third of the way through the season. I think it's too early to do anything big picture in terms of changing the way we frame the season, but you had some issues with what Jay said yesterday, so the floor is yours to address that and something else he said.
So, first of all, what people don't realize about Jay, everybody's like, well, Jay was on ESPN, he's this national guy. But when it comes to his teams, it has nothing to do with his professionalism. The guy's the ultimate professional. But he is emotional like any other fan. That's why you love Jay, because he, even all those years of doing national TV, he has not lost his emotion for his teams. I would argue on this show, despite people thinking G. Bush would be the answer, that Jay is by far the most prisoner in the moment when it comes to his teams.
100%.
100%. He is so emotional about his teams, which is awesome because a lot of people go to national TV and they lose touch and they're like, well, I'm not a fan anymore.
Jason Lloyd.
Jason, right. Jay is not that inside. He lives and dies with his 3 teams. And he's a big baseball guy, so add that to this. So he's like, well, the season's over if we lose 10 games. Of course the season's not over. He knows that rationally, but he's emotional when it comes to the Guardians, and he's emotional because they got their asses handed to him by the Reds over the weekend. They lost to Francona. Will Benson, who's essentially done nothing the last 2 years, had the weekend of his life. Will Benson had a negative 1.2 WAR last year. You know how bad you have to be to have a negative WAR? That's what he had last year. Benson's been in the minors most of this year. Great weekend. I won't take it away from him for that, but let's not get carried away about the plenty of things to criticize the Guardians but not trading Will Benson.
You got to realize Jay's so emotional. He's on a remix with Carl Thomas.
I wish I never met her at all.
Yes. So, no, the season's not over. They can go 0-10 the next 10 games. The season's not over. If the season ended today, the Guardians are in the playoffs. Now, you could say they can't win anything in the playoffs. You could say the team's not good enough to consistently win. And you could make fair arguments for all these things. I don't love the team right now. But let's not get carried away. They're not out of it, certainly not. And they're not going to be out of it in the next 10 days, no matter what happens. And they're not going to go 0-10. But even if they did, I wouldn't say they were out of it. Now, there may come a point where they're just having a bad season, and maybe in July you're making trades. I don't know. We could get to that. But we're a ways from that right now. And overall, they've played okay baseball. Not great, certainly. And it feels worse now because obviously the Tigers have been great all season. They're having a fantastic year. Mm-hmm. And they're dealing with a lot of injuries. They actually have, I believe, more guys on the injured list than any team in the American League. Maybe more than any team in baseball besides the Dodgers. But, Minnesota had done nothing. The last 2 weeks they've been sizzling hot. Good for them. The Royals have gotten hot the last couple of weeks. But they're right there with the Guardians. Baseball seasons ebb and flow for most teams outside of the Rockies and the White Sox. That happens. So, yes, taking the emotion out of it. The Guardians are not out of it. They're not going to be out of it in 10 days. Do I love what the team looks like right now? I don't. Do I think the front office has made a lot of mistakes? Yes. I don't think trading Will Benson was one of those mistakes. But, yes, there's plenty to criticize. But, no, it's just too emotional to say they're going to be out of it in 10 days.
How is Naylor and Jimenez doing this season?
Jimenez is hurt. He has not been good. The first week of the season, he was red hot. Hit like 3 home runs. And I don't think he's hit a home run since. And
he has not.
And now he's just doing what he always does offensively, which is kind of mediocre.
Josh Naylor, because the Diamondbacks.
Naylor,
he's been good.
His overall numbers are good, but they're not amazing. He's been cold. But even when he was here, he would go through like a month where he played like crap. Yeah. And then he'd get hot again. His numbers aren't mind-blowing, Mike, I don't think.
He's hitting .299.
That's really good.
5 homers, 29 RBIs, and an .820 OPS.
Yeah, I mean, that's really good. The 5 homers is not is surprisingly low. But listen, I'll tell you something else.
Would he be tied for third on this team?
Now, here's a legitimate
He's
criticism.
on pace real quick. His 162-game pace.
Yeah.
17 homers, 99 RBIs, 300 average, which
I think he'll end up hitting more home runs than that. He'll get on a hot streak of home runs. Here's the thing. What I'm frustrated about when it comes to the Guardians is this offseason, like they're spending so little money, and then what they spend, they didn't spend wisely. They should have never traded Naylor. Now, I'll give him credit for at least one start. Slade Ciccone did a really nice job in his first start for the Guardians. I was really impressed with how he pitched, and he's got some talent. But I would not have traded Naylor, and I don't know if you guys remember this. Maybe you'll remember when I say it again. All offseason, until he signed with Detroit, from October till whenever he signed with Detroit, I don't remember exactly when it was, I said, the Guardians should sign Gleyber Torres. You remember how many times I said that, Mike?
Yeah, I had actually a counter. I had Ant keep track of that because you started getting annoying with it.
Yes.
And let me punch the numbers real quick.
Okay, please, check it out.
You said it too many times.
Too many times.
Who was the guy they wanted? Who was the guy Bull wanted a couple of years ago from the A's?
Brent Rooker. That's who I wanted.
Okay.
I was talking about him. Guy's an all-star now.
He's really good.
Guy's an all-star, signed an extension with Oakland at reasonable money. If you I forgot about it. I was making a big thing about Brent Rooker. Man, if you had Brent Rooker on this team and Gleyber, what's Gleyber Torres' numbers for the Tigers, Mike?
The computer's loading.
Computer loading.
Torres for the Tigers this season
is
having a good season, hitting .284, 5 homers, 24 ribbies, and .808 OPS.
Okay. He's batting cleanup for the Guardians if he's here. he's their at worst 4th best player if he's here. Think about this lineup. And by the way, they paid Gleyber Torres. So Josh Naylor's making, I want to say $11 million this year. I don't remember the exact amount.
Was that through arbitration?
Yes. I believe Josh Naylor's making 11. Carlos
10.9, yep.
Okay. Carlos Santana's making 12, I think, right? They paid Paul Sewald, who they didn't really need, 7.
Santana's 12, Sewald 7.
Okay, and I believe Gleyber got 15. Am I right about that?
Gleyber Torres this season. Gleyber, $15 million, 1 year.
Okay,
$15 million
so you could have kept Naylor, signed Gleyber. That's $25.9 million. Not signed Sewald, not signed Santana. That's 19. So it only cost you less than $6 million more. I don't care what their payroll is; they could afford $6 million more.
Okay.
And you could have had Naylor instead of Santana at first, and you could have had Gleyber Torres. So you would have had 5 with Manzardo, Kwan, and Ramirez. You would have had 5 legitimate quality starting hitters in your lineup. Instead, you have 3. Then you have Schneemann is doing a nice job. Arias has been okay. Those guys, instead of being 4 or 5, would have been 6, 7. And then you only have really one weak spot offensively instead of 3.
So let me throw this at you. because we've been on this show for 3 years.
Yeah.
And I say the same thing every year.
We ain't got no sticks.
There's no sticks. And I came up with this grand unified theory.
Yeah.
The unified theory is that there's a hierarchy in this system, in the ecosystem. The Browns are at the top. They take all of the energy, all of the money, all of the attention. They get praised the most, and they also get killed the most. And so when you are a second and third team in the pecking order in the city of Cleveland, you're actually in an insulated position from getting very much criticism. You know why? Because no one really expects you to do much anyway. You're not the focal point. You are just the team that gets people past the feeling of when football is gone. So in the summer, you need something to do. All right, let's go watch the Guardians. We can look at the field, and guess what? It even helps you because you're at least consistently good enough to make the playoffs, but you're not good enough to ever win at that level. So what they do is say, why would we ever spend money? We're not going to be able to spend enough money to get to the level we want to get to. And we can always say, we're better than the Browns. Look how what we gave you. We're better than this. The Cavs do the same thing. But we got the core four. Look at all the wins we got in the regular season. But they'll never have the pressure that you have in a big city. If the Mets or the Yankees or the Dodgers or all these teams with big markets, if they don't do what they need to do, the fans is on them, the people is on them, the media is on them. Here, we give parades. I've never seen in any city people give parades for front office people. Well, y'all might as well put their names on the
Well, I don't. And I think, last thing, I think the front office overall in their tenure has done more good than bad, but they've done a bad job the last couple of years. Zach and I talk about this consistently. They have not spent money, and when they have, they've spent it poorly over the last few years. There's no debating that whatsoever. The front office has not done a good enough job in recent years, and they deserve plenty of criticism.
All right, we got our guest,
guys. Go ahead.
We got to get to our guest. We are thrilled to bring in Joe Schobert here after a quick word from Skylight Calendars. Say goodbye to sticky notes, scribbled plans on the fridge, and overlapping calendar invites. The Skylight Calendar is here to bring clarity to the chaos and help families stay organized through the stress. This sleek digital display syncs with your existing calendars, Google, Apple, Outlook, and more, making it simple to track appointments, practices, dinners, reminders, all in one easy-to-see place. And right now, Skylight is offering our listeners $30 off their 15-inch calendar by going to skylightcal.com/NFL. Go to skylightcal.com/NFL for $30 off your 15-inch calendar. That is skylightcal, skylightcal.com/NFL.
Let me tell you how nice a guy Joe Schobert is as we bring in Joe in a sec. So Joe was on my podcast last week, right? Mm-hmm. He lives in Colorado now, and he and his wife own a dance studio. And Joe was on the podcast. Now, when we were recording an interview to use during my live show the next day. And when you record an interview on whatever it is, that I can't remember the name of the platform I use, you got to save it. So we asked the guest to stay on a few seconds so we could save Zoom.
Is it Stream?
It wasn't Zoom.
It's Riverside.
It wasn't Streams. Riverside. Thank you.
I got Riverside too.
Right? So usually when we ask them to stay on, it takes 30 seconds max. Some like a minute, maybe 90 seconds. We brought on Joe. I don't know if it was because he was, because he's in Colorado. I don't know what was going on. Maybe it was our end. I have no idea. But it took, I want to say 45 minutes for the thing to save. And Joe stayed on the phone with us for 45 minutes.
Wow.
He drove to his house. Once he got to his house, it went faster. He was just taking us with him through the whole day. He couldn't have, most guests wouldn't have stayed on there for 3 minutes, let alone 40, right?
I'd have been hung up.
That's how nice a guy Joe Schobert is, and he's here with us now.
I got to go.
I mean, we really got to know Joe in the 45 minutes. He was unpacking his groceries. We got everything, Joe. Thanks again for that, man, and good to see you today.
Yeah, I mean, that was an eventful day for everybody involved, right?
It certainly was. Joe, we were talking about the Browns quarterback situation earlier. Can you ever recall a situation where 4 quarterbacks are legitimately, or at least we think legitimately, competing for a job. I mean, that sounds like something maybe in college that would happen.
Yeah, that was my first thought. It seems very similar to more when you get a graduating senior and you got 5 or 6 quarterbacks on the roster who all have potential. But yeah, in the NFL, I can't recall anything. Even real 2-horse quarterback races are kind of rare in the NFL. You always know who you think is going to be the quarterback. There's a quarterback battle. It's kind of just by proxy for the media and for the fans to talk about something. But yeah, a legitimate 4-horse race, a quarterback in the NFL is something new. I haven't seen it before, that's for sure.
Joe, this is the funny thing about it. When you watch these quarterback races or whatever, Joe Thomas was talking about it, and he said, when you watch these guys play, you'll know within a couple of seconds if a guy can play or not, especially if they're getting behind center. How is it being a defender and you guys are in your rooms and you're talking about what's going on and you like, man, did you ever have a feeling these guys can't play? These guys these guys are trash. Like this, we're in it for a long season, man. We're gonna have to stop a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. In the defensive room, I mean, the thing about the NFL from a quarterback's perspective is the windows are so small and they're not there very long. That's why I work with some high school guys around here a little bit on defense and talk about the quarterbacks and even go through college. Like, there's a lot of blown coverages. There's a lot of wide open receivers. There's a lot of underthrown balls that get caught. In the NFL, there's none of that. The defenses are all on the same page. So you don't, as a quarterback, there's not time to make a mistake and go to a second read and try to force a ball in there because it's not going to be there. And just like the mental processing of the position just seems like at the NFL level, you have to be able to process super fast. There's a lot of talented guys, a lot of talented arms that just can't play because they can't make the right decisions at the right time. And when you get on a field in live action, whether it's preseason or in the regular season, you can tell real quick if a guy's got it or not. And obviously, that's where I think a lot of quarterbacks have kind of faltered coming into the league the last, let's say, decade, because they just get thrust into that role right away, and pretty much nobody's able to take that. I mean, Peyton Manning, his rookie year, wasn't turning the world on fire. Like, it takes time to do that, and NFL stands for not for long, and owners and coaches everybody's worried about their own jobs and their team looking good, so they're trying to move on to the quick fix as fast as possible, and there's not a lot of time for these guys to develop. So, I mean, even if a guy comes out and is rough right away, it's not necessarily the nail in the coffin, but this day and age, it kind of feels like it is.
Joe, I'm glad you brought that up because it made me think about J.O.K. J.O.K. was a linebacker that was very athletic. First year was okay. Second year really was down, and then he meets Jim Schwartz, comes in, and all of a sudden he's processing things really fast and he's making these plays. For you as a linebacker, how long did it take you to be able to be like, all right, I know what's coming. I've studied this. I know what the offense is trying to do, and it allowed you to play really fast?
Yeah, I'd say for me, my second season when we switched over from a 3-4 to a 4-3 and I started playing Mike, probably 5 to 6 games into the season, it took me to just get comfortable in knowing my job and my role every single play, where I didn't have to think about it in excess before the snap, and I could start looking at the offensive formations and looking at what they were trying to do and start predicting a little bit of stuff that they could try to attack us with and be able to make plays off of that. But it's so dependent on the scheme. Like, the different schemes have different strengths, and like for some guys, you can be in a scheme which I like to call like a vision defense, where a lot of zone coverage, your eyes are on the quarterback. And for some players, especially athletic guys who play more naturally, like that's a defense that they can just plug and play. You can get back, you can get your eyes on the quarterback, you can go allow your natural instincts to make a play. But then there's other defenses which are heavily predicated on matching receivers and communicating with other guys, ins and outs, and passing off stuff, which is a lot more mentally taxing, but works for some guys and it doesn't work for others. So it really depends, I think, on the defense and defensive scheme and finding the right fit. And like a guy like J.O.K., yeah, if you get him in a defense where you can just get him out in space and let his natural instincts take over, like he's an athletic freak. He's going to go make plays on the ball, and you saw that.
I'm glad you brought up changing from a 3-4 to a 4-3 because I was with you in 2017 when G-Dub became the DC. What did you think of him? Were your first impressions of him? Because I know what I thought. What did you think?
G-Dub, I mean, he's one of a kind. Like, I remember the first meeting, his thing when he comes into a meeting is just to be as loud as possible right away, to just wake everybody up and make everybody sit up straight backs in their seats.
Come get some.
I was not ready for that. Yeah, come get some, just at the top of his lungs. And he might be one of the best people in the world in enunciating what he wants to say at a high decibel volume, because he's very capable of that. But once you get past all the vulgar words and the attacks of whatever people's character on the football field, you realize it's not personal with GW. He's just doing it to create stress, create an environment where he can see how people work through adverse situations. Because when you get in a game on the field, like, you're going to have a lot of adversity. You're going to face a lot worse things than Greg yelling at you in a meeting room. And you can tell that it's not personal with Greg. So once you get past that and you realize that that's what he's trying to do and you can go perform, like, he was a great coach to play for in that aspect. And I personally love the Tampa 2 scheme, so I always have a spot in my heart for it.
You know, Joe, I've been looking at this for, I would say about over the last 15 years. You know, when we grew up, you had guys like Urlacher and the Ray Lewises of the world and the Lance Briggs and
LeVar Arrington.
Yeah. Like, when we came up, like, you know, you talk about the late 90s, early 2000s through the 2010s, linebacker was the guy on the defense. The linebackers were the guys who made the tackles. They roamed. They were the impact players. It seems like over the last 15 years, linebackers have been devalued to a certain extent, where now people's philosophy is, hey, just give me a couple of guys off the street, put them in, and they should be able to tackle people. Why do you think the position of linebacker is almost a defensive version of running back, where people think like linebackers are not valued in winning football?
Yeah, I think that just goes along with the evolution of the game. And it's all cyclical, so I think linebackers and running backs are going to come back to being very valued in the future at some point. But, I mean, the NFL is a game where it's always evolving. In the last 10, 15 years, it's evolved into a pass-heavy league. We got the quarterback generations of the Tom Brady's, Aaron Rodgers, Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger's running the league for the last 15, 20 years. And it kind of went away from the big one-star running backs. And obviously, running back's a hard position to play. You get beat up. It's hard to rely on a guy for more than a couple of years to stay healthy and be the focal point of an offense. So I think just as the NFL has evolved into a more pass-first league, a lot more 11 personnel, a lot more nickel on the field. Obviously, nickel, there's one less linebacker on the field. 11 personnel, the running back's it's not a run-heavy formation. So it's just kind of the way the league's gone. It's trying to score more points, trying to throw the ball, trying to get all the big explosive plays through the air. And that's just really been what's gone. Linebackers, like, you don't see any Ray Lewis-sized linebackers in the league anymore. Everybody's got to run. Everybody's got to be able to cover. But at the same time, I think, like, with Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley last year, proven running backs can still be pretty valuable. I think everything's cyclical, so it'll start working its way back that direction. But right now, we're definitely in a low point.
Joe, in your career, you had 677 tackles. You were tied for the NFL league lead in tackles in 2017 with 144. 5 straight seasons of triple-digit tackles. Do you have a favorite hit from your NFL career? One hit that stands out when you look back and say, yeah, I laid the absolute crap out of this dude.
Well, I have one where I came and brought everything I had, and I stood a guy up, and it made a great picture for Instagram, but then a couple seconds later, he spun off and would have ran for a touchdown if the refs didn't blow for forward progress to be stopped, and that was Marshawn Lynch. That's a big boy. That's a big boy. I remember playing against, I don't know if I've ever seen somebody as wide as that guy is, with as quick of a feet as he has. But I remember coming up open field tackle, just bringing everything I had, hitting, rapping, running my feet, everything the coaches tell me, and we were just stalemated, just kind of did a little shake, a little spin, and I went flying. But thankfully, the refs blew the whistle, and it was down. So it goes down as a tackle for no gain.
There you go. Was he the toughest running back to tackle?
Yeah, I would say so. That was when he was in Oakland, and that was a couple of weeks before I think he tore up his groin, and he was still Marshawn Lynch, still prime Marshawn Lynch. And just the combination of size, balance, and the quick feet he had, and we were playing on that baseball field. It was a long day out there.
Hey man, I'm sorry I wasn't laughing at you, but bro, like I ain't heard some of these football terms in about 15 years. You said I brought everything I had.
Yeah.
Joe,
it didn't matter.
Joe, you was with the Browns for 1-31. You know, when you went through those seasons, at the beginning of those seasons, you know, did you think that this team, that Browns team would be good? I only ask because as of right now, you see some of the moves that the Browns are making, and a lot of people are saying that they won't have a good season this year. And I was wondering if it's something that you kind of can recognize before the season even begins.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I came into 1-31, so that was like my first introduction to the NFL, and like we were working way harder than we worked in college. We were putting a lot of time on the field and like putting so much time into the meeting rooms and the schematics, and our preseason games were going fine, so it felt like we were going to be reasonably successful. Obviously, it didn't turn out like that on the field. I think now, if I was put in that kind of situation, I'd be able to realize it beforehand, but at the time I couldn't tell. And I think when you're in the locker room with your guys, like the NFL is so much parity. Even though we went 1-31, we were in multiple fourth quarter games, we were in multiple overtime games, we had lots of times we should have and could have won games, and I think just we didn't pull it out at the end, and that kind of starts to weigh on you, and it makes it harder to be able to pull off the games at the end of a game. But every year you never know, like in professional sports, everybody's good. So if you can just kind of get the right combination together, if the right guys stay healthy, you get off to a couple of the games that maybe would have went against you in the past, you win one or two of them in the beginning of the season, can turn the whole trajectory of a season around. So I don't really put a whole lot of stock into preseason rankings or how the season's going to turn out, because 6 weeks of training camp, a lot can change. People stay healthy, people get hurt, teams trade, people get cut, picked up. There's a lot of things that can go on, and it just kind of depends on how the team gels going into that first week of the season. And if you can get off on a decent footing, that really sets the whole season up.
Joe, I'm not sure how closely you still follow the Browns, but in 2023, they had the NFL's number one ranked defense. In 2024, that defense took a big step back because, partially in my opinion, the offense wasn't capable of scoring enough points, and that definitely takes a toll on the defense. When you get into another season where you have higher hopes for an offense, how much can that reinvigorate an entire defense to play back up to the standard you know they're capable of, when you're not having to go into each game saying, if we give up more than 6 points, we're probably going to lose?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. The best defense in the NFL is a defense that's not on the field. So you got an offense scoring a ton of points, holding the ball, keeping the defense off the field. That's going to help all those defensive statistics. When you're on the field a lot as a defense, it's just natural you're going to fall in the rankings because you have to play more defense. There's going to be more opportunities for their team to gain yards, to be able to make explosive plays. But like I follow Cleveland pretty closely just because of like guys on the screen, Miles and Njoku. All those guys are still there. I got a lot of friends still on the team making plays. Some of the young linebackers and now the old heads in the room. So there's a lot of pieces. Like Cleveland's got all the pieces on defense to be a dominant defense, starting with Miles at the edge. So if you can keep them off the field, keep them a little bit fresher throughout the whole 4 quarters, they got all the pieces to be a dominant defense.
Joe, it's been a rough stretch for your Wisconsin Badgers the last few years. Obviously, a couple of 7-6 seasons, and the last year I think they went 5-7 with Luke Fickell.
Hey,
we know Luke Fickell's a good coach.
Hey.
Obviously, you think they're about to get back in the mix in the Big Ten this year, or is it going to still take more time?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, since COVID hit, I think Wisconsin we were on a high before that, and then that COVID season, kind of everything went off the rails all across the country in college sport, all sports. But since then, it seems like we've struggled to recover a little bit faster than some of the other programs, and I think like NIL and stuff, we're kind of behind the 8 ball a little bit compared to other, especially Big Ten programs. But Luke Fickell, obviously, is a proven coach. You see what he did at Cincinnati, and before that, I believe in letting college coaches go through at least one whole recruiting cycle before you determine what kind of a coach they are. And I went to a game last year. I've been to a couple of practices, and I like what I've seen from the team. It's just got to put that into results on the field. And I believe in Coach Pickett will be able to turn it around. I mean, the air raid offense that they brought into Madison wasn't obviously suited for the personnel we had. And I think going into this year, we're kind of taking a step back from that, being a little more pro style. Will help because, you know, when you're going to go play Wisconsin, it's kind of like Wisconsin's and Iowa's and Northwestern's. You know, you're going to be in a physical game. You're going to be playing against a pro-style offense, big offensive lineman, a good running back. You can get a couple receivers and a good quarterback. That's a recipe for success, and I think we're kind of turning back to that formula. So I hope it produces a little bit more wins on the fields on Saturdays.
Joe, we'll get you out of here on this one. Thanks again for making some time for us today. But you played with Myles. You mentioned that before. What was your first I can't believe Myles Garrett's a human being in the same species we are moment, because that dude does some physical things that no one else on the planet can do. Do you have a good Myles Garrett story that you can share with us today?
I mean, the biggest thing is just when you see him in the weight room doing, I remember we do like box jumps with like weights, dumbbells. I don't know, it was probably had 50-pound dumbbells in each hand, so 100 pounds box jumping like a 42 or 48-inch box jump. And it's just like, that's not supposed to happen. And then that goes before he takes his shirt off. He's a 275-pound guy, 6'4", not supposed to have 8-pack abs. But you know, Myles is a freak. So he's one of those guys that you just look at. He's got all the talent in the world. And when you see him on the field making all the plays on Sundays, you just wonder like how we play the same sport. There's few guys in the league where you like look at them and you're like, how do I play the same sport as you? And we're on the same field, the same team at the same time, and I'm supposed to compete. Thankfully for me, Myles was on my team for most of it, so I didn't have to worry about that too much.
Thanks, Joe. We appreciate it, man. Good insight. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. You guys have a good one.
You too. Joe
that
Schobert.
Was former Pro Bowl linebacker Joe Schobert, who's going to go hoop at the local YMCA in Colorado now. So Joe gets some buckets for the UCSS squad. We're going to move on, talk a little Cavs here, guys, after a quick word from FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing. Every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments, whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player. There's never a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. New to FanDuel? Well, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head over to FanDuel.com/UCSS and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Koby Altman had his end-of-season press conference yesterday. We had Jason Lloyd joining us live from Independence to give us some instant reaction, but we didn't hear anything from Koby. And there was one part of it that stood out in my mind. I want to play you a snippet from Koby, and then I have a question to follow up with you guys. But Koby was asked about the toughness of the Cavs. Are they tough enough to win at the highest of high levels? We know they can win in the regular season. Can they win in the postseason? So Koby was asked, and Koby's response was, I think we were physically tough, not mentally tough enough. I'm curious how you guys feel about what Koby Altman said in response to that question. Here's Koby.
That's an interesting question because I think there's a mental toughness that you have to get through going through these failures in the playoffs. I think people will speak to the physicality. It was a physical series against the Pacers, but watch every single series. They're all physical. They're all grabbing the hold. They're all pushing from afar. This was different because it wasn't like we were getting shoved around. We went into this playoff saying we want to win the possession battle, right? And we did that in large portion. We doubled the Pacers in offensive rebounding. So when you think about those intangible hustle stats, we had 70 offensive rebounds, they had 35. So this wasn't a just push around, we're not tough enough. Like, there's a mental toughness that we're going to have to get to that a lot of the Pacers had. A lot of the Pacers had that experience of, conference finals. Pascal Siakam was a champion, second best player on a championship team. You think of the years that Miles Turner has been through, all the playoffs he's been to. Now he's been to 2 conference finals. We haven't got there yet. And I think at the end of some of those games, taking out game 4, I think that's what we saw. They made those winning plays at the end. And as much as we won the possession battle and we dominated the possession battle throughout the playoffs, that one foul line blackout in game 2, right? That's a level of focus and winning that we have to get to. And it's going to eat at us. It's going to haunt us. But I just want to be careful on like the toughness piece. It's physical. Of course it's physical. They picked us up 94 feet. They beat us up. Our point guard wasn't healthy. We couldn't handle that pressure a lot of the times. That's part of it. But if you want to talk about the toughness, intangible hustle stats, we actually won that battle. I think it was the mental piece, and we're going to get there as we continue this pursuit.
So do you guys think the Cavs issue is more of a mentally tough issue, a physically tough issue, or both?
All I want to say is him saying that we had more offensive rebounds and we doubled it and still lost. That makes it even worse. I want to put that out there.
Right, he made that as like that was some accomplishment.
That make it even worse.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand what he's saying from the mental aspect of it all, but I mean, there's no denying the fact that Donovan got pushed to the ground and was picking himself up off the ground a lot. You know, it was a lot of bumps and bruises. And I get the whole everybody was hurt thing. But so was Tyrese Halliburton. He had, according to McNuggets, he couldn't even use his left. And
right.
He still
played a game without Matherin. He wasn't hurt, but he got kicked out of the game.
I seen Miles Turner roll his ankle in a game and still came out there and didn't miss a beat. So to me, I like the physical part, like that is a thing as well. Like these guys, we've done all these great things as far as. To me personally, what happened is that they made the Cavs play a different style of basketball. The Cavs didn't do the same things that they did in the regular season to make them successful. And I know it was because they didn't have their guys, but still, you didn't have a lot of guys in the lineup in the regular season, and you continued to run your offense at a high level. And the fact that y'all decided not to do that in the playoffs was the reason why y'all lost. But I understand what he's saying as far as the whole Pascal has won a championship and these guys have the experience. Come on now. I hear that, though.
I don't want to hear that.
I hear that, though.
The reason they don't have more experience is because they keep losing.
Well.
I mean, give me a break. There was not a single person, G. Bush, that before these playoffs started, we were talking about the Cavs. Everybody in the NBA thought the Cavs could go to the finals. And everybody in the NBA thought the only team that could beat them in the East was Boston.
That's a fact.
Did you hear a single person when the playoffs started say, the Cavs might not have enough playoff experience?
No.
Of course not. You can't say that now because Miles Turner has been to the playoffs a bunch of times.
How many times has Donovan Mitchell been in playoffs?
1 million every year.
How many times has Max Strus been to the playoffs?
1 million.
What are you talking about? Like, why are we acting?
That's crazy.
He's gaslighting people. Bro.
That's 100%.
Like, this dude act like we just didn't see you lose 4 games to 1 3 years in a row. And he talking about, and you lost to Atlanta in the play-in. Let's be real about this situation. We talked about Darius Garland. He lost 15 pounds last year. He was wired. His jaw was wired. He lost all his weight. You had a whole offseason to put 20 more pounds on. How many L's do you got to take for you to get yourself ready to go? Jared Allen has been the same weight since he came into this league. He has not put one. The only thing that's got big is his afro. The afro looks great.
It is a sweet afro.
It's immaculate, by the way. It's sheened up. It's edged up.
And that's why he need to just braid it for one series.
I want cornrows.
That would be weird.
I want to braid it
and just come out there and get flagrant.
His whole team, your own coach said it. I got the clips. They were here. We were here. They physically punched us, and it was like we couldn't sustain what they were doing. All together, boys and girls, if your team says we're tired, is that physical or is it mental? Both. Stop trying to act. If we didn't shoot well. You know the biggest cause of shooting well? Not shooting well? Is when your legs get tired. Fatigue. Yeah. You didn't mention my home, but big dog, you didn't mention to me that it was the one block out, rebound, the block out. We couldn't. No, you couldn't inbound the basketball. You couldn't inbound. People were so physically dominant that you couldn't even move around and get away from somebody. Do you notice as the NBA, you name me one game where you couldn't get the ball in court. It doesn't happen. It only happens to the Cavs. He's gaslighting us, telling us, oh, I'm going to push back a little bit. I'm going to push back on the physical part of it. Well, listen, you're not better than these teams. And the media, we got to stop doing that because you know what you're doing? You're encouraging them to say stuff like that.
It's crazy.
You're encouraging it.
I understand when he says we're not going to trade. He's got to say that. There's no benefit to saying we're going to trade guys. Now, if they don't trade him, I'm going to be pissed.
All right, I'm about to say.
Yeah, no, they got it. We'll get to that.
He can say it all he wants.
But
he better.
I understand why he makes those comments in a press conference because if you say, yeah, we got to break things up, well, now you weaken your trade position. But these comments are insane. to say that, by the way, part of physical toughness is being able to play through injury. You mentioned Halliburton was hurt the whole series. You barely knew it because he played great except for one game.
You didn't see every time he went to the bench that he had a brace on in his back?
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah, right. And you're like, wow.
Do you guys remember?
Yeah.
And I don't want to pile on here, but I'm going to.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards in Game 2 of the Western
Conference
messed his
knee
semifinals
up
against Golden State.
Yeah.
Rolled his ankle.
Oh, I thought it was his knee.
No, rolled his ankle. He had to be helped off the court.
Yeah.
We didn't hear about that again for the rest of the series.
Yeah.
Didn't hear a word.
Yeah.
And when he talked about, and real quick, to go against Kobe again, and sorry to do this, Kobe, but he is technically correct. The Cavs out-rebounded the Pacers, 229 to 208. However, you look at the contested rebounded numbers, which is when it's not just
which is
missed
what
shots.
matters. Yeah.
Indiana had 74 contested rebounds in the series. Cleveland had 52.
And that's the hustle plays. And that's part of the reason the Cavs had so many offensive rebounds is because they shot so many bricks from the three-point line.
Yeah.
I mean, and look, that's guys use misleading. Some knucklehead, I don't remember who it was, some random dude on Twitter yesterday sends me this bizarre graphic.
I saw it was Joe Burrow and Andy Dalton.
Joe Burrow and Andy Dalton comparison.
Oh, Lord.
And the stats on there, it said through 5 years they had the same QBR. First of all, Joe Burrow's QBR on there was completely wrong. It was way higher than the number. And then it did not have passing touchdowns. It had rushing touchdowns on the bottom. Like anybody gives a crap who's got more rushing. So you can spin stats the way you want to spin them, make them look however you want. The Cavs are clearly, it is painfully obvious, not physically tough enough. The Pacers out-hustled them in the series. All of a sudden, the Pacers are a good team. We didn't give them enough credit. But this idea that the Pacers, they're way better than the Cavs.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, come on.
That's ridiculous.
And they didn't, guys.
Anybody that say that is out to lunch.
Injuries were a factor, clearly. I do not want to hear this. They lost the series because of injuries, because that's nonsense.
See, to a certain extent, because although Evan was hurt.
Yeah.
He still was.
He looked totally fine.
Yeah,
he looked totally fine. Let me tell you something.
It blew my mind.
Game one, they were only missing Darius. If you're a championship contender, you should be able to still win a game at home with your third best player out.
They were up 19 in Game 2 without all
19 in Game 2 with nobody. They blew it. Game 5, they had everybody, and they got smoked in the second half.
Game 4, he's gonna. Anytime you say throw Game 4 out. Why would you throw Game 4 out when it's the pivotal game in the series?
And got demolished.
And you got beat by 50. What? This is my point.
Yeah.
He's playing you. He's playing. He's not going to look. It goes back to the theory. The Cavs, they're okay with winning the 60-some-odd games because they're a good regular season team. People will come, still play. It's a great atmosphere. And look, there's never going to be anybody because there's apologists all over the internet talking about, you guys are dumb. We shouldn't break it up. We shouldn't break Darius and this. He was hurt. Listen, man, I'm going to tell you something right now.
They can't trade Darius. I just
100% should be traded.
I just got that jersey.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Okay. We ain't trade.
Buyback program going.
Me and Bullet go half on a baby. Yeah. Because this is, for me, you keep saying this is what we do in Cleveland. We inflate the value of what we have because it's better than what we had in the past. It's better than what it been because it's better than it used to be post LeBron, and you got good guys and you win 64 games. You inflate that these guys are top notch, and every single year, here's how I know it ain't top notch. Every single year, Jason Lloyd sits here as they keep running it back. He says, Jared, I can't defend Jared anymore. And DG, what am I going to get for him anyway? Every year Jason says, I don't. His value in the league is polarizing.
He's kind of right though.
Every single
then he's not that good. Then
he's not that good.
Enough, but
okay,
what do you want Jason to like?
No, he's not criticizing Jason. He's saying it shows out there. He's not that good.
I'm big up in Jason. Because I'm big up in Jason because Jason's saying like, hey guys, I know y'all want him to make a move, but there ain't that many people that's willing to take a 6'1" guard that's ball dominant, that's injured all the time, and some timing with his mental ability to focus on the game.
The NBA has an issue.
Don't do that.
And this is Darius falls into this category, but there's Kemba Walker's and there's a bunch of guys in this group. When a player performs well on his rookie contract, they either get the rookie max extension or they get let go. Very rarely does a player coming off his rookie deal sign like a regular sized extension.
Yeah.
And it puts a lot of guys in a situation where their contract does not meet their value, which then makes getting off it hard. And I go back to real quick, Charlotte with Kemba Walker as the example, because Charlotte decided we're not giving Kemba the extension. Like we don't think he could be the number one player, and we can't afford to play two max guys. They let him walk. He went to Boston, and then he ended up getting hurt, going in and out of his career, and ended up being the right move for Charlotte. But at the time, Charlotte got absolutely destroyed for it because everyone said, you guys have no good players, you got to keep it. I, honest to God, don't know what some of these teams are supposed to do in those situations.
Yeah, all right, but it is what it is now. So I get what you're saying. It's a tricky
I just want to make that point.
Yeah, it's a tricky spot. I get it. Not that Charlotte's done anything without him. But
they made every wrong decision since coming back to Charlotte.
So, but here's the thing I've heard a lot of people, I keep hearing the same crap. That, it's not Boston 7 years.
Oh, that Boston talking point is infuriating.
You know what Boston did? Yes, the top two players on the team, they kept those guys together, but they kept changing the rest of the guys until they found the right combination.
Kyrie Irving,
that's what right.
Gordon Hayward,
what's his name? Marcus Smart.
Kemba Walker.
They kept changing the other parts. The Cavs have Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. Those are their two best players. Anybody else can go in the right deal. And I understand it's a tricky situation. It's the Cavs, because of this stupid second apron nonsense that nobody even knows what the hell it means, make challenges in making trades. But I'll tell you this, G, I would rather trade Darius Garland and Jared Allen for a player or two players that maybe are not quite as talented but have a toughness and an edge to them that'll fit with the chemistry of this team.
I agree.
They are not winning as currently constituted.
It's not.
That's obvious. You're not going to move on from Donovan because he's the best player. And you're not going to move on from Evan because he's a young player that's getting better and better. He's still got to take that step where he dominates more often.
I just seen Evan for Giannis.
We're going to get to that.
I thought that couldn't happen. Now Mike says there is a way it could.
We're going to get to that next.
But you have to. They have to trade.
And Bull, and the problem that we had is, I get it. Y'all traded for Jared Allen before you had anybody here.
Yeah, right.
Let's stop acting like Jared Allen is a core anything. He is a role player.
There's no core 4. There's a core 2. Trade anybody else. Yes.
He is a
100%.
Here's the thing. If you're a big and you cannot get your own shot, you're not physical, and you don't have an offensive game, you are an energy guy. And if energy guys don't bring energy, what are we talking about
here?
What?
This is what I'll say. I've sat here. We've been on this show for an hour and 37 minutes.
Yes.
And at the beginning of this show, right around the Guardians talk, y'all both said that Jay Crawford is the most prisoner of the moment person.
He is.
Right now, you two are prisoners.
It's not prisoners. It's 3 years. It's 4 years.
It's 4 years.
Yes, y'all are. Y'all are prisoners of the moment.
This is 4 years.
Y'all ridiculous.
They ain't even been to a game 7 in the second round.
This is ridiculous.
They haven't won 2 games.
So you want to bring the same team back as is?
No.
Okay. No. So then what are you saying?
No.
I think there's an in-between of how far you guys want to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Y'all.
So can we agree?
The fact that Bull Bull just sat there and said, "I'd rather trade Darius and Jared for two guys that might not be talented, but it's tough."
I did not say
That's
might not
ridiculous.
be. I did not say might not be talented. I said not as talented.
Oh my goodness.
But bring other things to the
That's
game.
ridiculous.
That's not ridiculous.
To say.
No, I'm with Bull on this, and here's why, Ty.
I'm with you, Ty.
Listen,
Right
2v2.
they ridiculous.
McNuggets. Listen, McNuggets and Tybus. Let me ask you a question all together now. In 4 years, they have not been competitive in one second round series. Have they?
As far as like
Not competitive. Not close to winning. Not close.
No, that is true.
that's true. 4-1.
This is the second round.
Yeah.
It ain't the conference finals. It ain't the NBA finals. He's sitting here telling us that you can't beat the Pacers or the Knicks. The Celtics was, okay, I give you the Celtics.
That's not what he's saying, though, G. And you could disagree with what Kobe's saying. And I'm not saying I agree with everything he said. But what he's saying is the 4 teams that are left in the playoffs are the 4 healthiest teams.
They're better than you.
Not healthy enough to win at that level.
They're better than you.
Bullshit.
They're better than you. They're just, they're simple.
I'm telling you, that's what Kobe Altman told you. I'm not saying you have to agree with it. That is what Kobe Altman told you.
They are simply, if somebody is injured and you're injured, you can show fight to it. We just sat here and talked about LeBron James playing with Delhi with the greatest team ever to live, and they won 2 games in the finals when they had no Kevin Love, no Kyrie Irving. We sitting here saying that Darius Garland missing one of these games, he missing these games, and you get beat 4-1?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Come on.
It's ridiculous.
And you got home court.
And to back up what you said, G, how many times in the last 4 years have the Cavs won a series that they were an underdog?
None.
0.
Well, they've only played in 4 series, and they're 1-3.
Well, all right,
so.
but include the play-in. I don't remember if they were favored.
They lost to the Hawks, and they was at home.
Right. How many times have they lost when they were favored? This year against the Pacers. 2 years ago against the Knicks. Both times.
And got pushed to 7 against the Magic.
Magic, when they were a massive favorite against the Magic.
Come on, you guys.
So,
come on.
What am I saying that's unfair, Mike? I'm not saying not talented. I'm saying you could.
It's very easy to say blow it up, bringing guys less talented.
I'm not saying blow it up. I'm saying
when you trade 2 pieces of the core, that is blowing.
I don't
up
believe I believe it's a core too.
We're arguing minutia here, tomato.
Because the core is stupid.
No, I'm just saying. What I don't understand. Tomato here.
What I don't know. What did Darius have in them games that he did play?
I don't care. He's not an impact player when it matters. He's always hurt. He's not an impact player.
That matters. I want to know what he had.
Let me pull it up.
What did he have in the games that he played?
He had 20
in the Pacers.
Darius Garland in the 3 games against the Pacers had 11 points, 21 points, and 10 points, 4 rebounds, 1 rebound, 1 rebound, 3 assists, 6 assists, 3 assists.
They did nothing.
See that matters.
He did nothing.
But
and I know he was banged up.
But we all can sit here we all even admit it. That the turf toe is probably the worst one out of all of them. Like, come on.
It's the NBA playoffs. You gotta play through this stuff.
Game 5, the man literally was hobbling up the court. What do you want to what the heck do you want him to do?
Donovan Mitchell was half dead, and he scored 50.
Would you say that Darius is the second scoring option, best scoring option?
He shouldn't be.
I'm asking you a question.
He was this year.
All right. Yes. That's what I'm saying. So Donovan had to carry the weight on his shoulders because he had nobody else to get the ball to.
And he did it even though he was hurt. There was no whining about his injury.
Would you admit that a rolled ankle is not as severe as turf toe?
I don't know. I've never had turf toe.
G. Bush.
I like turf toe is painful, man. Here's what I'm going to say.
But it's just a pain tolerance thing.
Man, what?
Listen, I'm not diminishing. Here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm not diminishing, right? Here's what I'm saying. Overall, when Koby Altman speaks like that, he gives people shelter.
I ain't got nothing to say about that. I ain't saying you wrong on that.
I mean, because last year
he's wrong. It's 2 left shoes.
Last year, Jared Allen didn't play in the Boston series. This year, you had Evan Mobley, Hunter. Listen, I know Hunter hurt his finger. But what happens in practice when you dislocate your finger?
They pop it in and put some tape on it and you go back
Thank you very much. I'm just saying, dog. And all we need you to do is play defense. Kenny Atkinson.
No, you needed them to score, too, because it's your second best scoring option.
Well, at least you could have offered something. They offered nothing. And then they couldn't get the ball in.
He had a couple points.
But no, when he didn't play in game 2.
Oh, yeah. No, okay.
You see what I'm saying? Well, you don't. That's my thing. It's like, to me, And look, the Cavs got a good team. Darius Garland is talented. Jared Allen is very talented. All of them are talented. Here's what I'm saying. Obviously, there's other teams that are getting to a point where now the Knicks, they making changes every year.
The Knicks is making
changes.
They can't make no more changes.
Teams are going for it.
Everybody killed the Knicks for what they did in the offseason, changing, and they played like crap for a lot of the year. And everybody was killing them. They're in the finals now. I mean, the conference finals now.
Minnesota, too.
Is all of their guys healthy?
No,
I don't know.
Jalen Brunson ain't healthy. Brunson ain't been healthy this whole playoff series.
Brunson rolled his ankle in March. He's still a little hobbled by it.
Exactly. You don't hear no whining about that. That guy takes his game up to another level.
We talking about a rolled ankle versus turf toe. I can't even plan.
All right, and to me, I look at it like this. Not even just on the physical and the toughness part. We'll get to Mobley for Giannis or whatever the trades is. To me, I look at the parts. It's not just Darius Garland in a vacuum. It's the fact that you're starting 3 guards that are under the size of 6'3", and you're wondering why you can't defensively match up with people. I'm seeing you getting hunted out. You getting every
That's
single.
a fact.
That's
a fact.
So they have to do something because right now, to me, it's not working against elite teams.
They need a taller backup.
Here's the thing: at this moment, going into next season. The Cavs have 6 playable playoff players. Isn't that true?
I think it's 5.
I think it's 4.
I can't put Jared Allen in that category. I can't.
You're putting him in the core 4, but he's not a playoff player?
I said it yesterday.
Wow.
You can't put him in.
You just called him part of the core 4.
What's your 5?
In the terminology of the core 4, he is part of the core 4.
No.
That's bullshit. It's a nonsense made-up term.
So
you got 5.
I got 5 guys I think you go to war with in the playoffs right now. Jared Allen, I can't say I'm confident in.
So Hunter and the other 4 starters.
Darius, Hunter, and Ty Jerome?
No, Ty Jerome's a free agent. Ty Jerome's a free agent.
Correct.
We don't know if we Merrill's a free agent.
Yeah.
Isaac Coro, D. Wade are complete zeros. They're zeros. They can't be counted on.
I agree.
So you have 5, maybe 6, if you count Jared Allen.
Yep.
And I was giving Jared Allen that. So to me, and I don't know how realistic this is, but if I could turn Jared Allen and Darius Garland into 2 players each, well, now I have 9 legitimate players.
But how are you?
Watch this. Would you take the next McNugget?
And I don't know if you can do that, but
this is how you know that you can take lesser talent.
Shoot.
Would you take Bridges and Hart for Darius Garland and Allen?
No.
Bridges and Josh Hart?
No.
I would. And Hart?
No.
No.
That's why you're not a GM.
No.
What they need,
watch this.
This is what they need. The Cavs need to do this.
I would do that in a
I
heartbeat.
don't know if they can. Or, this is what they need to do.
You just saw the Cavs offense with Darius out of the equation run only through Donovan, and it got completely. You can't take out your secondary creator, your second best ball handler.
The Cavs
for 2 guys that are defensive led.
Maybe the wrong guys.
No,
maybe the wrong guys.
Listen, the Cavs need to find a way to get Drew Holiday as a backup point guard.
How you?
Listen,
he's my starter.
You can't pay Drew Holiday $35
I know you
million
can,
to your back.
but listen, if they could, this would change everything because when you get down to them crunch situations, you take Darius out and put him in.
He said backup.
I gotta trade Darius Garland. We can't have
you out to lunch.
You got to trade Darius.
You got to find someone to make a trade with. That's the issue.
I
think it's very plausible.
Yeah.
Regardless of what Kobe said, and we'll get to this next trade in a second, I promise.
Yeah.
Very plausible to move Jared Allen with his $20 million contract into, like you said, Bull, 2 pieces that can make you better in situations and places you need.
Yeah.
I mentioned the deal with the Rockets on Monday. I mentioned again this morning. Tari Eason, Jabari Smith for Jared Allen works on paper. A deal like that where you get wings. And
how do you do that? Can you trade Darius for a creator who may not be as good overall as Darius, but is a good creator who's bigger, and then maybe a secondary player? In
a vacuum, maybe I'd have to dive and look into who. I don't have a name. There's not a name or an aggregate of 2-3 guys that I look at as a team that says, hey, they may want to make this kind of deal.
Get creative. Because here's what we know. This team, as is not winning a championship. Con yourself into whatever you want. They are not winning a championship as is. And part of it is they got to change the chemistry of those next guys. Part of it is Evan Mobley taking that other step.
And if you want to hear more on that, Jason,
he can't disappear for like an entire quarter.
No, and we got to trade involves Mobley. I got to get a
and this is just silly. I don't like this. I thought you couldn't trade him. I thought you couldn't trade for Giannis. You told me for 2 weeks you couldn't trade for Giannis.
If you give me a sec, I'm going to just put everyone in the right place. This next trade topic is brought to you by Buckeye State Credit Union. If you're unfamiliar with them, let me introduce you to the financial friend you didn't know you needed until right now. Buckeye State Credit Union is a local brand offering a wide range of products from checking accounts to home equity lines of credit and auto loans. They have some of the lowest rates around and are committed to serving Northeast Ohio. The Cleveland location is in Shaker Heights, but there are 5 brick-and-mortar locations across the state. Buckeye State Credit Union is here to help make your life easier. They make banking more convenient, always putting the customer first, so you feel leaving cared for, valued, and respected. Connect, simplify, adapt. Those are the core values that make Buckeye State Credit Union the right choice for you. For more information, head to buckeyecu.org. Buckeye State Credit Union, your money simplified. So this trade proposal from Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo popped up on everyone's Twitter feed yesterday. It was simply Evan Mobley for Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I wanted to put this in yesterday's show, and then I remembered Tyvus is coming in on Tuesday. Tyvus loves Giannis. This will be more fun.
But you kept saying that they couldn't make this trade.
Because you can't. And there's a way it can happen, but there's 3 things that have to happen first.
All right, well, tell me about
To start, Giannis's projected salary for next season is $54.1 million. Okay. Mobley's projected salary for next year is $46.4 million. The Cavs are a second apron team. They cannot take on a single penny more than they send out. So just based on that, 1 for 1 could not happen. However, if the Cavs were to duck under the second apron, then they have a little more flexibility. To do that, they'd have to unload Okoro and Wade into teams with salary, or Strus or whatever else, but those are the 2 easiest ways. To do that, to let a team take on Okoro and his $11 million salary for the next 2 years, they'd have to attach probably picks to it. Cavs don't really have picks to trade. Very difficult. So let's just say then they were able to for the sake of this. And then you make the deal. The Cavs would still be a second apron team. They can't exceed the apron, and they'd have to fill the final 6 roster spots with about $1.5 million, which means like league veteran minimum contracts, cut in half. For example, 6 Tristan Thompsons this year would make $13 million. They'd have to find, and I'm not even sure if it's legal under the salary cap, a way to pay guys like $200,000 a year. So I don't even think it's possible. I don't think it's possible.
There has to be where you could pay minimum salary guys.
Hey, how much does Amani Bates make?
He's a two-way guy, so Amani Bates.
So they have to have 6 two-way guys on the team, maybe, which is crazy. I don't even know if you can do that.
You can only have 3.
You know what, Mike? Who cares? This trade's not happening. In theory, would you do it, though?
Let me see.
So that's the question. This is what Bill
Simmons
Simmons
old is Giannis?
31 years old.
And Mobley's 24?
23 years old.
I'm not making that.
I ain't making that trade either. I love Giannis.
In a vacuum, take money out. You would not make that deal?
What are y'all?
Y'all are smoking.
Y'all are smoking the goodest.
Why you think they're gonna win a championship next year? Because they got to win it next year, right?
The stickiest of icky.
I need to see the rest of the team.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I need to see
in that case, if they still got Darius Garland and they still got Jared Allen. Listen.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me sit up.
Come on, get up.
Go ahead now. What?
So I'm gonna tell you about Darius Garland. Darius Garland ain't a problem if you're a third or fourth option. He's a problem if you're the second option.
Okay.
So you got Giannis. It don't matter what Darius do. Whatever he gonna give you, he gonna give you. You got Giannis and Donovan Mitchell. Giannis, by the way, defensive player of the year caliber guy. Tough as all get out. He punches dads in the middle of the playoffs. He threatens Halliburton's father. I like how he threatened fathers. This is my thing. I would do that in a heartbeat. And by the way, I like Mobley's. I like this. I like Mobley, and I like his progression. But there's a lot of people out there. Let me ask you about Mobley's game. Is Mobley's game ever going to get to Durant offensively?
No.
Okay. Do you think his game gets to offensively? I think his ceiling might. What if his ceiling is LaMarcus Aldridge?
I take that.
Okay. He's already better than LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yeah, I take that.
I mean,
so what do you think his ceiling is, Mike?
What do you think his ceiling is?
In terms of like a player comp?
No, offensive gameplay.
Bam
we know what he is.
He's better than Bam. No, listen, he took a big step forward this year. He's already an all defensive caliber player.
Offensively.
If he becomes, it wouldn't shock me if he's a 24-12 guy
next year.
No, I don't think that's crazy. No, honest to God, don't think that's crazy.
Okay.
I mean, he didn't get – his usage rate was 22. I think that's got to be 27, 28 next year. Like I truly believe for the Cavs to reach that next level, the entire offensive philosophy has to change from being such a backcourt predominated offensive philosophy to making Evan the focal point.
Why are the Bucks been so bad in the playoffs? Is it just the
Doc
talent around Giannis?
Doc Rivers
why is he
trash.
not able to raise their
Giannis's
level?
Playoff numbers are absurd.
They're the craziest numbers in the world.
Doc Rivers
is the team
is
around him
trash.
that bad?
Yes.
Yeah, they suck.
So it has zero to do with Giannis. There's no decline at all?
Giannis giving you 30 and 13 every night.
Hey, bro, this is a no-brainer.
This season,
yeah.
Giannis averaged.
Don't give me the numbers. Is there any decline at all in Giannis's play?
No.
This was his best playoff run ever.
No, don't give me the stats. Give me the eyes.
No.
Any decline?
Is this the best Giannis has ever been?
Okay, then I changed
real
my
quick
mind.
because
I'd make the trade.
because of you asked for the numbers real quick. He averaged 33, 16, and 7 in the 5 games against Indiana.
And I was against Indiana.
All right. Here's why I changed my mind.
He also shot 61%.
Here's why I changed my mind, even though Mobley's so much younger. The Cavs got to win a championship in the next 2 years.
You got with Donovan Mitchell as your best.
Here's the other reason.
Yeah.
I love Evan Mobley, for the record.
Yeah.
If Evan Mobley ever becomes a top 3 player in the league, that would be incredible. If you trade for Giannis, you are getting a certified bona fide,
and you have 2 of the top 15 players.
2 of the top 15 guys in the league, and Giannis, in my opinion, has 3, 4, maybe 5 years left at this peak version.
Right.
Which
that's enough time.
Exactly.
That's enough time with Donovan's age anyway. Like that's enough time. I'm in. I was crazy to say no. Yes, I am in. I can't believe you said no, Tyvus, as such a big Giannis guy.
Tyvus know what time it is. He just tired a little bit. He getting used to that morning schedule.
And by the way, I'm still trading Darius Garland.
He just tired. That's it. Tyvus know what time it is.
I didn't want to give McNuggets the satisfaction of thinking that I would say yes.
Jimmy,
so I wanted to go against McNuggets.
With our time left, Jimmy Haslam. Jimmy, let me talk to you real quick.
Jimmy is not.
It really can't happen. Like there's a 0.0000000.
Why can't? They can't just give away those 2 guys for nothing?
There's 3 teams in the league that have salary cap space, Bull.
I mean, all for
Utah
them,
one of them?
Listen, Isaac Okoro, Dean Wade, they are as useful as ice in the winter. But offer them hookers, offer them whatever you need to take those guys. Those teams stink anyway, right? What teams are those that have that space?
Brooklyn, Washington, and the Jazz.
Washington might as well not even be in the league. They haven't been relevant.
Hey, we trade with the Jazz all the time. We give them all our picks.
Go.
We trade players.
If they had picks to it, if they had their whole plethora of Donovan Mitchell picks, you could attach a Okoro and a first to a team.
Can't you give them a 20, 30 something first?
No, they can't. That's the issue. They can't. They have 1 first-round pick to trade still.
Which one?
2031.
So trade that first-round pick. Trade it. The Cavs are going to suck. I mean, they're going to suck then. But you got to try to. They have to go all in and try to win now. I don't care how much tax they have to pay. They got to get. They got to get Giannis.
You remember how you
They got to get rid of Darius because he's a soft ass. And let's go.
Remember how you said that you don't do the flip flopping stuff? This is 2 times.
I just thought about it more.
You did it.
I just had to think it
First
through.
Kevin, now Giannis.
We gave him new information.
Yeah, I had to think it through more.
We had to think it through. Listen,
I had to think it through.
It gives us no pride to say this out loud.
Yeah, I don't really want to trade Mobley, but if I have a chance to get
wait a minute. Again, y'all okay with getting Giannis and keeping Jared Allen?
I don't want Jared Allen. I want Jared Allen.
That's the part that bothers me. Is that
Jared Allen and Darius Garland.
It's not gonna work. It's the pain is clawed.
Darius and Jared Allen are soft.
Darius
we gotta get rid of
fine.
We got super chats.
Jared Allen.
No, he's soft too. Darius doesn't take anything seriously. He's a soft ass. He's not a winning player. Mike, you know it. Admit it. You're friends with the players. You've gotten too close. He's soft.
Bull ended with, you're all frauds. I like when he says that.
Go.
All these guys are frauds.
Let's go.
Caleb Ramirez says, would you trade Darius Garland for LaMelo Ball?
No.
LaMelo Ball's not a winning player either.
Do you want to see him laugh half the game?
No, I'm not interested in LaMelo Ball.
I'm not interested.
No.
Next one comes from Psycho13 Garage. I did not pay anyone to say this, I swear to God, but he says, McNuggets does a good job producing and driving these live shows. Love all the other guys too. Go Dog Pound.
Right.
And Nick Wagner says, my birthday was yesterday, too. I'm 23. Shout out to Aaron.
Yeah.
Bull, you got to tell us real quick in the last minute the story about Aaron.
This was wild.
And I have a question about it.
This was wild. Aaron, so we were playing a 5:30 game yesterday. Yesterday was Aaron's birthday, and he was born at 6:01 p.m. on the day he was born, right? 6:01 p.m. So he goes to me 2 nights ago, and he goes, Dad, wouldn't it be cool if I hit a home run the minute I was born? And it just worked out where he got up for the first time.
There were no mound visits. You didn't tell your other batters to take a
Aaron's coming up to the plate because I mostly been hitting him like third and fourth because he's been our best hitter this year. But yesterday I wanted some of the kids that have been hitting near the bottom lineup to hit higher, so I actually put Aaron last in the lineup. So he comes up to bat. He's walking to the plate. I look at my phone. I'm like, it's 6:01. I couldn't believe it. He gets up there, 2-strike pitch, bases loaded, 2 outs against a big lefty throwing hard. He didn't hit the home run, but he ripped a double. The left center cleared the bases, scored 3 runs at the exact moment that he was born 12
did
years
he come back?
And it gave us a 4-2 lead at the time. We ended up losing the game later.
Oh, you're on the hot seat again.
Yeah, but it was a big hit. He actually hit a further ball in the last inning. He hit a bomb almost to the fence, but it was caught.
We're talking NFL rule change.
Oh, yeah, I'm pissed off. Well, pissed off and happy.
Bulls big mad again. Shocker.
Yeah. Peace.